So can I just ask on this
Uh,
one? So you
uh,
said that you were consistent for a year with your reading,
mm,
right?
mhm.
And I understand that. So you read for a year, and then at some point you understood that, hey, now I need to shift my thinking. I need to continue with reading, but I need to be objective based reading. Now, obviously, like because you said you were doing it for a year, that I would assume that this wasn't like an overnight change, right? This was like a realization that happened at some point. Would you say that you would have had this realization from the start, or would you say that you had to first build that consistency muscle inside of you?
Bro, no, no, no. This man, this question is amazing. I strongly believe that the consistency muscle needs to be built first. I try to do the opposite all these years. It's not that this is the first time I heard about consistency. All these years I did hear about it, right? But nobody explained it to me the way that the 1% idea did, right? The James Clear 1% better each day kind of. Even though I
Yeah.
knew of it before, right? But for some reason, sorry, I digress just a bit, but there's a difference between somebody telling you and you realizing something yourself. So that's what the book did for me. It was a self realization rather than somebody else trying to make me realize something, right? Because my parents told me this thing since day one. You do a little bit better every day and things will be different. But did I understand? No. Until unless I read it for myself, it hit me at the right time, at the right moment, at the right age, at the right maturity level, at the right intellectual level, and boom, it had that effect, right? But again, to go back to your point, yes, it was first to build that consistency muscle, right? To get things going first, and then to improve, on it, right? So like I'm just trying to there's a really good statement that I remember from the book itself, from Atomic Habits. I'm just trying to kind of remember. It said that in order to improve a behavior, first you need to have that behavior, right? You cannot improve on a behavior unless, like, you cannot improve on a habit unless it's a habit, right? So the
Right.
habit formation part came first, which was to become consistent. And again, if you see, like, even from the start when I said the idea was, I took up reading books. So reading books was a secondary thing, right? The first thing I was like, man, what can I be consistent at? If you see, now that you say that, even I'm kind of thinking back to it. The first thing, the lead thing was, hey, what can I be consistent at? Second thing
Right.
was, I love reading books. Maybe I can love reading books so it becomes easy to do something. So the idea was to build an identity of being a consistent person, not to be a reader per se. Becoming a reader happened naturally, but the core idea was the identity of becoming a reader, of becoming a consistent person, not becoming a reader. So again, I hope that answers your query that.
It does. It
Mm,
does. But I want to sort of like dive deeper into the building muscle part, right? Because if we're being objective based here, right? One of the things that with consistency that I see quite a lot is that most people will give up within the first 30 to 60 days of trying to be consistent with something. And I know you and I have discussed this offline many times, where we've said that one of the reasons is because there is no immediate reward attached to what you're doing, right? So because that's the thing about gratification, right? We are creatures of, driven by rewards. If there is nothing for us to be gained, why do something, right? Why face the pain day in and day out? So this is something, like talking about the muscle building, the consistency muscle building. In my opinion, I struggled a lot with trying to build consistency in many areas of my life, because there was no clear goal and there was no clear reward attached to it at the end of the day, right? And when you are trying to be consistent and you're hoping to achieve some sort of goal or some dream that you have inside of your head, and you are struggling every day to show up because there is no immediate feedback, it becomes difficult to stay consistent. Now, over the years, I've developed a few tricks to show up every day, but I want to hear from you and sort of like understand, have you done anything to keep yourself accountable to consistency, even when days are extremely rough, or when you feel like your motivation is not there, or when you feel like, man, I just don't want to do this today?
Man, it's like, honestly, this instant reward and the feedback thing, I think this came to me very recently, because I, like, again, maybe I should share this with you that this is I read the Atomic Habits twice. One was at the early stages, one was now. This time I felt that I picked up on different points from the book than what I did when I read it earlier. Right, even when I was taking notes, even when I was highlighting stuff, I was seeing that I was highlighting different things. For me, the for me it was actually a little bit of coming not from I wouldn't say from from a dark place, but coming from how I thought of myself. Right, like the reward system was that I just felt that I wasn't being consistent with how I looked at the world, how I looked at my how I looked at things. I always told myself I'm the one who's going to make this difference, who thinks this, who has a very good way of thinking, or who has a very liberal way of thinking, or a growth mindset. But then in my life, I saw that my actions were not kind of showing that.